Hi, I'm going to show you how to make a glass flower bead. You first start off by introducing a mandrel and a colored glass rod of your choice to the flame. Once your glass rod is a nice droopy molten, you can slowly wrap it around your mandrel in about 1 or 2 rotations. The size is up to you, however keep in mind this will be the center of your flower bead. At this point, you're just going to be shaping your bead in the flame so that it can be even on all sides and a nice symmetrical shape. I take a lot of time at this point, just so that it can be a perfect canvas for the next step. Okay, I've just picked up a rod of transparent amethyst and I'm going to melt it slowly in the flame, and once it's another droopy molten effect, you're going to slowly rotate it around your bead so that it covers it nicely, and then if there are any imperfections you can just fill it in on the sides with a molten so that you have a symmetrical finish. And then you just follow the procedure again of slowly melting it in to create a symmetrical bead once again. This process can take a little long, although it is worth all the effort, trust me. You know, when you're working with glass, each layer, as you build it up, you want to complete each step the best that you can because you can't really go back. So to have a clean canvas for the next stage, you're going to do whatever you can just to tidy up the edges. I like to use my long tweezers. I just put it around the molten and I slowly squeeze as I rotate the mandrel just to keep it all in one place, and then once again I flash heat it and then I'm ready to go. Before I continue with the main body of the flower bead, I just want to add some detail to the center of the bead because I can't go back later, or I guess you can. I normally don't like to do that with the flower beads because they're sculptural and you don't want to take the chance of melting any of your previous work. So I've just used a thin stringer and I make a few dots around the base of the mandrel on the bead itself. And then I slowly melt it in. Not all the way, just so that it fuses with the layer I've put it on. I was hoping you could see it, but it is a little blurry in the camera view. The dots in the center of your flower bead are really just for decorative purposes. You don't need to do it. So if you're making your flower bead for the first time, just leave the dots off, and then the next time you do it again, you can put the dots in. Your flower bead is always going to look different, and that's what makes them so special. I've already started the next step, so let's just backtrack a little. You take a transparent glass rod, color of your choice, and you introduce it slowly into the flame again. At this point, you will be creating your petals for your flower bead. So if you'd like 5 petals or 6 petals, that's entirely up to you. You will then just put 5 dots or 6 dots around the base of your bead. I like working with 5. I feel that it allows more space for sculptural detailing. Keep in mind that you need to keep your bead warm at all times, so just do that by rotating it slowly back and forth in the flame as you work. Alright, so the next thing I'm doing now is I'm just adding some more glass to each dot. I'm building it up because I eventually am going to flatten this glass and would like to form nice round petals. While you're working after each session, you just tidy it up a little, make sure it's all symmetrical. You can use a shaping tool if you like. I like using my magic wand. It's got a nice sharp edge and it just aids me to push the glass back and forth to exactly where I want it to be. You can also use your marver just to compress each dot so that you can even out the glass and keep them all the same size. Alright, so the next thing you would do is you can change the color. So instead of adding continual dots to build up your petals, you can change the colors as you go. I'm using aqua. I love the combination between aqua and amethyst, and it adds depth to the bead. As you build up the dots and they get bigger, you'll find that they're a little harder to manage. So at this stage, I find it easier to work with them individually. And as I put glass on one, I softly and gently compress that glass, and then I move on to the next dot and so on until I'm done with the entire section. I'm still continuing with the aqua and placing glass on all the dots just to ensure that they have an even amount of glass on each. Okay, well, believe it or not, I'm actually going to add some more glass in another color again, all the way around. So when I edit this video, I'm going to fast forward through this section and it's going to be really fast. But basically, it is just the same as what you've done now with the aqua, except you're using another color. I'm using amethyst again, but you can use anything you like. It will just make for a very interesting flower. Okay, so now we're really getting to the fun part of this, and you're going to see that your flower is finally taking shape. You melt each dot separately. You still need to keep the entire bead warm, but you melt each dot separately, and then with flat tweezers, you squeeze the dot so that you can shape your petal. And then you rotate the glass again, and so you go on, and you heat another dot again, and you squeeze it. And so you continue all the way around until you've done a full rotation. And then once you've got your petals in place, you can just tidy them up, give them another squeeze, and even out the glass nicely on each one. Do this very slowly so that they don't touch each other. You will notice that it takes you a while to get all the petals perfectly in shape. So I will be fast forwarding this on the movie again. Okay, I'm terrible. Yet again, you need to take another glass rod, color of your choice, and you're going to use this glass rod to define the tips of your petals. So just melt the glass and start placing dots on the tip of each one. Once you've placed a dot on each petal, you'll probably find that you need to add some more glass to it because, you know, this is really a tricky stage. You're trying to keep the bead warm all over. You're trying to make sure it doesn't melt and distort the shape. And you're trying to make sure that the tips are nice and crisp. So just keep your bead warm, not hot, and reapply dots if you find that they've melted in. It's not a problem, especially when it is a transparent color. It will just bleed into the previous color and it will look stunning anyway, so you don't need to worry. And as for sharpening the tips, I'm going to show you how to do that now. You can turn your flame down if it will be easier. What you do is you heat the tip of the petal, you take your tweezers and you very slowly pull a piece of the glass off, you'll find that it will pull your petal into a very streamlined shape and quite a desirable shape. And then you move on to the next petal, and then you complete the full rotation, and voila, you're done. Okay, well, almost done. You still need to just make sure that your flower is shaped correctly. You can take your tool and just push all the petals in the right places and shape it a little bit more if you like. Don't forget, the very, very important thing is to, while you're doing this, keep your bead warm, and then right in the end you need to flame polish your bead. This just takes the stress out of all the glass, and you pop it in the kiln and then you wait. Enjoy and let me know how you went. I'd love to hear your feedback. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it was informative. Feel free to contact me. You can go to my website on www.lorrainedowdle.com.